Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. I'm so glad you're here. Well, what's going on in the stock market? Stock market is bouncing off the 20-week moving average, right? We had that 6% drop in the market in the S&P, hit the 20-week moving average, and we bounced off of it. Now, where's the next resistance going to be? Resistance going to be at the 50-day. We should come right up to the 50-day and hit resistance and then go down from there. Now, if we get through the 50-day, they can make another run at the all-time high. But until we get back above the 50-day, the bears are in control, right? They're in control of the market as long as we stay below the 50-day moving average. And that'll be up around, 5,200, 5,250, something like that. But as long as we stay below that 50-day, the bears are in control and they'll pull this market back down lower. That's just my take. We'll see how that all plays out. Now, a lot of you have commented on how gold and silver got smashed down, right? Gold was up here at 2,400 and then had a $60 down day. And I mean, but what a run up it's had, right? Okay, it's had this amazing run up, right? It was at $2,000 an ounce and ran up to 2,400. So it ran up basically $400 and had a $60 down day. Now, for me, I just smile and I buy some more. I'm trying to hope it comes down to 2,200. I'd love to see it pull all the way back to 2,000, but it doesn't usually work that way. Usually the Fibonacci retracement that I look for is a 50% pullback of the run-up. The run-up was from 2,000 to 2,400, 50% pullback and put us right around 2,200. That's where I'm hoping we drop down to because I'd like to buy some more at that price. Now, maybe we go back lower, back down to 2,000, but I don't think so. I think we'll come down 2,200, and then I think we'll get back to all-time record highs. We'll see how that plays out, but what's happened is they're just selling the paper gold. You see, when they smashed the gold market, they smashed the silver market. They're not dumping physical gold onto the market. They're dumping onto the market what's known as paper gold, the GLD, the SLV. Paper gold, paper silver is how they smashed that market down by $60, by $1.50 on the silver market. And for us that buy the physical product, we smile, we go down to our local coin shop, and I hope they still have some in stock to sell me because it sells out really quickly, right? Sells out very fast. A lot of times Costco, they sell out of everything because people want this stuff. The central banks want this stuff. Now look it. Why am I still buying at these record highs? People go, but my gold's at a record high. And it's really close. It's off about $60 from its all-time high. But gold is still cheap. Now, the stock market got up to a record high. Wasn't cheap. Was extremely expensive. And so the stock market, I do see it coming down farther. But gold, I see gold continuing to go up. Even though we're at close to a record high, gold is still cheap. Now, why do I know it's cheap? Well, I know it's cheap because they're going to continue to print money into oblivion. They're going to continue to print U.S. dollars until the U.S. dollar isn't worth anything. As long as they're continuing to print dollars, I'm going to keep buying gold. Now, you can do what you want. Your silver, I think, is even a better play than gold, so I'm buying both of them, right? Gold and silver. I like them. That's my take. Some of you moon boys, you're in that Bitcoin stuff. That's fine, but I don't think that's the play. I think gold's going to be the one that wins out in the end, and we'll see how it plays out. But as long as they continue to print money, I'm going to keep buying it. Okay. All right. Now, are they going to continue to print money? Well, we just got an announcement. $95 billion aid bill. Okay, $95 billion, right? Now, they're going to send that over to the Ukraine, going to send it over to fight the 2 or 3 wars, right? But we're not in war. We just pay for them, right? But this is the aid bill. Now, do you want to pay the Ukraine all this money? I mean, is that what you would vote for if you were a member of Congress? Me, personally, I wouldn't vote for it. But look, I'm not against helping out foreign countries, right? If we have extra money. But right right now, the foreign countries have to help the U.S. to pay off our debt. We're flat broke. We're going to go bankrupt. We're going to go out of business. We need help from the foreign countries. And here we are sending all the money to the foreign countries. Now, do you want to pay for this? Do you? I don't know. I don't. Let's see. If we started a GoFundMe to send all the money to the Ukraine, how much could we raise? Could we raise 95 billion? I don't think we could because nobody wants to pay for this. But yet all of us voted on it. We voted these people into office. These are our representatives. This is what they say we want. I think we got to vote these people out of office because it's nothing that I want. Maybe this is what you want, but I don't want to send $95 billion over to the Ukraine. I don't want to do it. We don't have the money. You see, now, here's the thing. Where does the money come from, right? Money comes from the central bank. Central bank's going to print the money to send over to the Ukraine. And the central bank loves all this, right? Central banks need debt. They need more debt. The only way they can get more debt right now is to fund more war. They want war. They're in favor of war. Central banks don't want peace. Look it. You get rid of the central bank and you will not have any more wars. Why? Because we can't afford it. You can't go to the American people and say, send in money, we want to go to war. No, the people will not allow it. As long as we have the central bank will pay for every war we want to go fight. Because why? Because they need more debt to keep the system alive. Once the debt goes away, once they can't print any more money, everything comes crashing down. They need more and more and more debt. Now, this is very inflationary, right? When they print the money to expand war, they're expanding war. They're going to kill millions of people in this war, right? I mean, they don't care. They don't care how many people die. They want more war because they need more debt. Debt is inflationary. What does this do? Kills the purchasing power of the dollar, right? Purchasing power of the dollar is going away. It's going to zero. Everything's going to be reset to central bank digital currency. The government is spending like a drunken sailor. Now, nothing against sailors, most drunken sailors that I knew in my lifetime, they spent their own money. They didn't spend somebody else's money. So it's really worse than a drunken sailor spending money because they're spending everybody else's money because they don't have any money. So they're spending my money, they're spending your money, and it's got to stop, right? Okay, it's got to stop. All right, let's get over and talk about the real estate market a little bit here. Okay, so real estate market right now, 1 out of every 3 listings has had a price reduction already. Now, this is the selling season. This is the good time. This is in the world's best economy, yet 1 out of every 3 listings has had a price reduction. Now, us real estate brokers, we have to say price improvement. We've improved the price of those properties, right? But the prices are coming down. They're having these price reductions, and we keep improving the prices, right? We keep improving them as interest rates, mortgage rates, go above 7%, headed towards 8%, and I keep calling for 10%. I think we'll get to 10% on mortgage rates, and we'll probably even exceed that. But when that happens, the price is going to keep dropping. It's going to keep coming down, lower and lower and lower. But this is the selling season. The economy is doing great, but yet they have to reduce these house prices. Why? Because nobody can afford them. It's the most unaffordable time in the history of the world to buy a house in the United States, right? They can't afford them. They just cannot afford them. But yet we have that extra money to send all around the world to pay for the wars, right? But yet nobody can afford to buy a house. Now, here's what's fascinating, man. This one just cracks me up. Let's talk a little bit about this, the settlement with the National Association of Realtors, right? The 418 million, I think it was, $18 million settlement, right? Okay, so this problem What they say is that we can no longer, as a real estate broker, now full disclosure, I am one, right? Okay, I've been one most of my life since I was 18. So the last 50 years or so, I've been a real estate broker. Okay, so I've seen this business evolve. When I first started in real estate, I could go out and sell a house with one sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, right? And we just write down the terms, we'd bring it to the title company, and it'd be done. Now you have to have a book of contracts to sell the house, a book of disclosures, a book of everything, because there were, this was supposed to get rid of all the lawsuits. Did it get rid of lawsuits? No, the thicker the disclosures are, the more lawsuits there are. It didn't solve any problems. The old days, I remember the first house I bought it on a napkin. I bought it in a bar from this gentleman. True story. That was the first home I ever bought. We did it on a napkin. We signed an agreement. We took the napkin to the title company and we closed the transaction. But today you need a thick book of documents to get a house closed today. So the NAR, they came out and it all got settled, right? We can no longer, as a real estate broker, advertise for the seller that there's a buyer commission, right? Okay, that's what on the MLS you can't advertise. Now between the brokers, they can say, okay, we'll have the buyer commission paid for by the seller. You can still say that, right? Now, here's what's fascinating. In a lot of places, this has already gone into effect where the sellers are offering 0%. They're not willing to pay for the buyer commission anymore. Well, here's what the studies are showing, and this is just data. This is just fact. Okay, this is just fact, right? Okay, so what it's shown is those houses are not getting sold. They're not getting shown. They have to reduce the price. And that could explain why 1 out of every 3 right now has already reduced their price. So when this comes into full law in July, it's already playing out in certain parts of the country. When it comes into law, you're going to see a lot of price reductions from the sellers. My advice for your seller, you might want to think about selling before July. You still have 2 months left. Come July, we're not allowed to advertise on the MLS, so we're paying brokers buyers commissions, right? So what's happening to the houses that are offering 0%? They're not getting shown. They're not selling. They're reducing their prices. Okay, but here's the thing. Now, the people that want this, the public doesn't want what the court is signing into law. Once again, we're not being represented. The lawyers are being represented, but us, the general public, are not being represented. Yes, the real estate agents are being represented. We have very strong representation by the National Association of Realtors. But what's happening, what's being signed into law is not what the public wants. The public does not want this. Why? Because houses are going to sell at lower prices and it's going to take a longer period of time to sell. So also when the buyers come to their agents, they're going to say, look, do you want to pay me out of your pocket? Do you want to pay me 20, let's say it's $1 million house, 20 or $30,000 out of your pocket? Or would you like to have the seller pay that commission? And they all say, oh, I want the seller to pay that commission. Well, would you like me to show you houses where you do not have to pay the commission where the seller? Oh yeah, I'd like to see those houses. Would you like to see the houses where you have to give me $20,000 or $30,000 to get the house? Do you want me to show you those? No, I don't even want to take a look at those houses. See, even the buyers want the seller to pay the commission, right? They want that built in because they can finance it, because they don't have to come up with the cash. $1 million house, let's say they're putting 10% down, $100,000 down. Okay, now if they got to pay me $30,000 to get them the house, they only have $70,000, which means they can no longer afford the $1 million house. They can only afford a $700,000 house. You see how that works. So if the buyer has to pay his agent himself, the house prices will come down. So people do not want that. They want to be shown the houses where the seller is still willing to pay the buyer's commission, because then they can finance it in the loan. And even Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac came out and said that they still allow the loans to finance the commissions. The only place we cannot advertise them on is the MLS. Okay, but we can still do the transaction from agent to agent and have the seller pay the commission. The other agent can call you up. They can text you and say, is the seller willing to pay the commission? Yes, the seller will pay 2%, 3%, whatever is negotiated in the contract, right? So if the seller still pays the commission, then it's financed into the loan. If the seller doesn't pay the buyer's commission, then the buyer has to pay his own agent, and therefore his price money that he has to buy the house will come down. You see, so what is happening is it's not going to be much different than it is right now. Now, that's the funny part. All of this lawsuit, all of this settlement, which the lawyers get most of, right? The law goes to the lawyers. But all of this, and it's not going to change anything. Nothing's going to change. The people that don't offer a commission, their house is going to sit on the market. It's not going to sell. They're going to have to be one of the price reductions, and they're going to be the ones that reduce the price until they're willing to pay the buyer's commission, right? The buyer broker commission. Then their house will get the showings. Then their house will sell. So when I go represent a seller now, I'm going to ask them, well, look, do you want to sell quickly and for more money? Or would you like to sell slowly and for less money? 100% of my clients say quickly for more money. I say, would you be willing to pay the buyer's agent commission? And they go, well, if it gets more and more money, and if I sell quicker, yes, I would like to do that. So they will do that. And then between me and the other agent, we can make a deal where the seller pays, it's in the loan, and it's all financed. The buyer doesn't have to worry about coming up with an extra $20,000 or $30,000 to pay his agent. So nothing's really going to change. It's kind of weird how it's playing out. These are just in the test markets. Now something, maybe I've got this all wrong. You'll leave me in the comments what your take is. But it looks like in my area, nothing much is going to be different. We'll see how it plays out over time. But that's just the latest on the National Association of Realtors settlement with the government, and we'll see how it plays out, right? Okay, anyways, I'm Tall Mike. If you enjoyed this stuff, give me a thumbs up. Get out there, everybody. Enjoy the day. Hit that subscribe button so I can talk to you again later in the week. Bye-bye.